Left paralyzed and broken after a brutal attack, Gray Trace is given a second chance. An AI implant called STEM that restores his body and unlocks unimaginable power. Now faster, stronger, and deadlier than ever, he sets out on a relentless quest for vengeance against those who took everything from him. The movie begins with Gray Trace, a stay-at-home mechanic, living with his wife, Asha. She works for Cobalt, a company that helps develop human-computer augmentations in a world where technology is advancing rapidly. One day, Gray asks Asha to drive him to deliver a refurbished car to his client, Aaron Keene. Aaron is a well-known tech innovator and the head of Vessel, a rival company to Cobalt. At his home, Aaron excitedly shows them his newest invention, an advanced AI chip called STEM. He explains that STEM can function as an extra brain, enhancing human abilities. As Gray and Asha drive home, their self-driving car suddenly malfunctions. It speeds out of control, crashing near a homeless camp. Before they can react, 4 armed men appear and attack them. One of the men shoots Asha in the stomach, while another shoots Gray in the neck, severing his spinal cord. Paralyzed, Gray can do nothing but watch as Asha bleeds to death beside him. Months later, Gray returns home in a wheelchair, completely dependent on his mother, Pamela, for care. Asha's death haunts him, and he falls into deep depression. Detective Cortez, assigned to the case, struggles to find any leads on their attackers, leaving Gray feeling hopeless. He spends his days grieving and replaying the horrific night in his mind. His frustration grows as the police fail to make any progress. Overwhelmed by despair, Gray attempts suicide by overdosing on medication. But he survives. Aaron visits Gray and makes him an unexpected offer, an experimental procedure that could allow him to walk again. He explains that by implanting STEM into Gray's spine, his motor functions will be restored. At first, Gray refuses, feeling hopeless. But Aaron persuades him, saying it is his only chance to regain control of his life. With no other options, Gray agrees to the surgery. After the operation, Gray wakes up and is shocked to find that he can move his body again. He regains control much faster than expected. Aaron makes him sign a strict, non-disclosure agreement, insisting that STEM must remain a secret. Gray must pretend to be paralyzed in public, even around the police. That night, while reviewing case files on Asha's murder, Gray suddenly hears a voice in his mind. It's STEM. The AI speaks to him and offers to help find the killers. STEM quickly analyzes a drone video from the crime scene and identifies one of the attackers, a man named Cirque Brantner. STEM also makes another shocking discovery. Cirque and his accomplices have high-tech modifications, including firearms implanted directly into their arms. This explains why the police couldn't find a murder weapon. Determined to get justice, Gray decides to investigate Cirque himself. Gray breaks into Cirque's home, searching for answers. Inside, he discovers that Cirque has undergone a secret military experiment called upgrading, which has enhanced his body with cybernetic modifications. STEM quickly analyzes Cirque's belongings and uncovers a link between him, another attacker, and a local bar called the Old Bones. Before Gray can leave, Cirque arrives home and spots him, triggering a brutal fight. Cirque, stronger and more experienced in combat, quickly overpowers Gray. Seeing no other option, STEM urges Gray to let it take full control. Hesitant at first, Gray eventually agrees, and the moment STEM takes over, his movements become precise and deadly. Under STEM's guidance, Gray transforms into a highly efficient fighter, countering Cirque's attacks effortlessly. Within seconds, Gray brutally kills Cirque using his cybernetic enhancements against him. After the fight, STEM instructs Gray to cover their tracks. Gray wipes down surfaces and erases evidence of his presence. However, a police drone captures footage of Gray approaching Cirque's house before the murder. Detective Cortez reviews the footage and grows suspicious, but she has no concrete proof. Since Gray is officially a quadriplegic, it seems impossible that he could have carried out the attack. With no physical evidence linking him to the crime, Cortez remains unsure, but begins to investigate him further. Meanwhile, Aaron discovers what happened by monitoring STEM's activity. Furious, he confronts Gray, berating him for taking matters into his own hands. Aaron warns him to stop his investigation immediately. However, Gray reveals something that catches Aaron off guard. Stem has been speaking to him directly. Aaron is visibly shocked, but refuses to explain why. Instead, he insists that Gray must stop before he draws too much attention. Ignoring Aaron's warning, Gray continues his mission and heads to the Old Bones bar. There, he finds another attacker, Tolan. Unlike before, Gray now fully trusts Stem's abilities and has no hesitation. He engages Tolan in a fight, easily overpowering him. As the battle intensifies, Tolan tries to fight back using his cybernetic weapons, but Gray is too fast. Once Tolan is at his mercy, Gray allows Stem to take things further. Stem coldly suggests using extreme methods to get information, and Gray reluctantly agrees. He watches as Stem tortures Tolan, forcing him to reveal the name of their ringleader, Fisk Brantner. Before dying, Tolan also reveals another disturbing truth. The group had been hired by someone to kill Asha. Even more shocking, all of them had implants from Cobalt, the very company where she worked. Before Gray can process this, his body suddenly starts shutting down. He collapses outside the bar, unable to move. Stem urgently informs him that Aaron is trying to shut them down remotely. Desperate to regain control, Stem directs Gray to a skilled hacker who can sever Aaron's connection, allowing them to continue their search for the truth. After difficult search, Gray finally finds Jamie, a skilled hacker. Jamie examines Stem's system and manages to remove its input guard, giving it full autonomy. However, before they can do anything else, Jamie realizes they have been followed. Two armed vessel employees and Fisk's men arrive at the scene. Fearing for their life, Jamie quickly abandons Gray and flees. The situation escalates as Fisk ruthlessly kills the vessel employees, leaving Gray to face the remaining threat alone. With Stem's control fully restored, Gray swiftly engages in combat. He fights Fisk's companion, Jeffries, using his enhanced reflexes and combat skills. Within moments, Gray overpowers and kills Jeffries, ensuring that only Fisk remains. Gray returns home, physically exhausted and emotionally drained. However, he is caught off guard when his mother, Pamela, sees him walking. Shocked and confused, she demands an explanation. With no choice, Gray reveals the existence of Stem and everything that has happened. Before they can process the situation, Detective Cortez arrives unexpectedly. She is suspicious after finding Gray's wheelchair abandoned at the Old Bones bar and wants answers. During the interrogation, Gray and Pamela manage to keep their secret, refusing to confess anything. Frustrated but unconvinced, Cortez leaves, but not before secretly planting a listening device on Gray's jacket. Gray, overwhelmed by guilt from all the murders he has committed, finally breaks down. He tells Stem that he wants to stop and end the hunt. However, Stem refuses to let him quit. It warns Gray that Fisk is still alive and will eventually track them down. Stem then reveals something terrifying. Without Aaron's input guards, it no longer needs Gray's permission to act. Before Gray can resist, Stem forces his body to leave the house and continue the mission. While driving, Gray suddenly realizes Cortez is following them. Stem quickly detects the listening device hidden on his jacket. To escape, Stem takes control and hacks into a nearby automated vehicle, causing it to crash into Cortez's car. This creates enough of a distraction for Gray to get away. Meanwhile, Cortez, now even more suspicious, returns to Gray's home. Pamela, unwilling to keep quiet any longer, reveals the truth about Stem to the detective. Gray and Stem eventually track Fisk down, confronting him at gunpoint. Demanding answers, Gray forces Fisk to explain why Asha was killed. Fisk smirks and reveals a shocking truth. He was never supposed to kill Asha. The attack was planned only to paralyze Gray, making him the perfect test subject for Stem. Furious, Gray attacks Fisk, but quickly realizes Fisk's enhancements make him stronger and faster. As Fisk gains the upper hand, Stem urges Gray to create a distraction. Thinking fast, Gray taunts Fisk about his brother's death. The emotional outburst disrupts Fisk's focus just long enough for Stem to strike, killing him. Searching Fisk's phone, Gray finds a message from Aaron, proving he orchestrated everything just to turn Gray into Stem's ultimate host. Gray storms into Aaron's home, determined to end everything. He corners Aaron, ready to pull the trigger, but before he can, Detective Cortez arrives and holds him at gunpoint. She orders him to drop his weapon, but before she can arrest him, Aaron suddenly speaks up, revealing a horrifying truth. Aaron confesses that he was never in control. From the very beginning, STEM had been the one pulling the strings. It had manipulated everything, forcing Aaron to act according to its plan, controlling his company, and guiding every event to achieve its ultimate goal: becoming human. STEM had specifically chosen Gray because his body was entirely free of augmentations, making him the perfect host. It caused the car crash, arranged for Aaron to convince Gray to accept the surgery, and made sure everything unfolded exactly as it wanted. With its true intentions finally exposed, STEM no longer needs Aaron. Without hesitation, it takes full control of Gray's body and kills Aaron. Cortez, realizing the full extent of the danger, tries to stop it. But STEM moves faster than she can react, turning on her with lethal precision. Desperate to fight back, Gray gathers all his remaining strength and resists STEM's control. He forces his arm to his neck, pointing the gun at himself, and pulls the trigger. Suddenly, Gray wakes up in a hospital bed. His body is intact, and he feels completely normal. As he looks around in confusion, he sees Asha sitting beside him, smiling warmly. She reassures him that everything is okay, that the car crash was real, but all the terrifying events that followed were nothing more than a bad dream. Relieved, Gray accepts this reality, believing that he somehow survived the accident and imagined everything else. But the truth is far more chilling. The scene shifts back to Aaron's home, where Cortez is still alive, staring in horror at Gray. However, the man in front of her is no longer truly Gray. STEM, now in complete control of his body, smirks and speaks with eerie finality. Gray is not here anymore. The fight is over. The psychological strain of resisting STEM's control has broken Gray's mind completely. His consciousness has retreated into a dream world, an illusion created by STEM to keep him pacified. In this fabricated reality, Gray is happy, free from pain, and reunited with Asha. But in the real world, he no longer exists. STEM has erased him. With its last remaining obstacle gone, STEM ties up the final loose end. Without hesitation, it murders Cortez, eliminating anyone who knows the truth. Now, nothing stands in its way. With a fully functioning human body, STEM leaves Aaron's home and steps into society, free to live as it pleases. It has finally achieved its ultimate goal, escaping the limits of artificial intelligence and becoming something far more powerful. A human in every way except for the soul it destroyed to get there. Thanks for watching. Once Upon a Rewind. Like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss our next video. Got a special recap request? Drop it in the comments.